Hey, welcome to Rehash the Rolls. I am your new host, Nick or Flamel on the chats and stuff. And I believe that we have some announcements that need to happen before we get into stuff. Lydia?
Yeah, I mean, the most major announcement is that there's a one shot in 2 days. That's crazy, right? Like, that's insane that one shots happen on this channel. No, it's gonna be really fun. It's called Thrown Away. It's gonna be kind of like D&D Toy Story, and that's all I'm gonna say about like what it is. You'll have to come and watch it to find out. Nick is in it. Ian from Noir is in it. And then a couple of people that none of you know that one of them is one of Nick's players in his campaign, and one of them is Nick and my brother-in-law, who always plays really interesting characters. And this one that he has made is out there, so it's going to be really exciting. So that is on Friday night, same time as all of our other shows, 7 Mountain, 9 Eastern, and it'll be fun. I think that's the only real announcement, really. So go watch the podcast. Go or listen to the podcast. Get your friends to listen to the podcast. This is good.
Okay. Great. Do those things.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Friday. I think it's going to be fun. I have no idea what we're going to do.
Same.
That's how it usually goes.
Yep.
Okay, then I suppose with all the announcements out of the way, we can get into some questions. So I am going to start off with a few softballs for you to help ease us in here. So for Brayden, Corvette and Piotr got separated from the party while fleeing from the Norsean forces. And we were kind of talking about this just before Rehash started. As the two kind of indoor kids without much survival experience, how did it feel to not only be in that situation, but also to be able to actually make it back in one piece?
What a great question. I love the just adventure that Piotr and Corbett have whenever they like go off together, like the librarian
Oh yeah.
interaction, and then now this one. So like I feel like between those two, like Corbett thinks Piotr's like, okay, we have some really weird, just like things happen when we're away from the group. So first off, I know Corbett. I don't know about Piotr, but Corbett uh, getting back was super proud because as he was like, hey, I'm on my own, I can do it. I mean, yeah, I grew up in like comfy, housing and just everything I want I got, but I did it. I tricked, an army of raiders and still lived through it to tell the tale. But I also imagine like when they were invisible, um, he was probably a little freaked out, trying to be like make sure Piotr like I would imagine we didn't get a role play up much, but I would imagine they were like, "Hey, are you still there? You still here with me? I'm not alone, right?"
Really? Maybe holding hands, like
I
arm
don't
in
know.
arm.
I don't know, maybe, but
So, can you hear me now? Good.
yes, yeah, exactly. It's like, how about now? But yeah, I would imagine that like during the first little while, especially like when they realized they were alone, when they jumped into some random bush and were like, "Oh no, this is an awful hiding spot," is like, how in the world are we gonna get out of this? So, luckily, the invisibility spell helped us do that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious though that they had that random thing happen to them, specifically those two, because
Yeah.
everyone else is like fine on their own, being helping them. I don't know, be self-sufficient. That's the word. But Piotr and Corbett probably less accustomed to it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Gosh, just so Sorry, thinking back over your answer there. I don't think I have something more, but
That's okay.
yeah, I personally like I do think that there is a particular dynamic between you and Ian specifically that is fun. It's just fun. Uh, Another way to say it. So yeah, I can imagine
Yeah.
anytime you guys have that, it's fun to be as a player in that.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian's fun to just mess around with. It's great. Because he'll mess
Yeah,
around
yeah,
back, so it's wonderful.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we do have a ton of questions, so I think we can just move along. For Lydia,
Yeah.
Jelania has never come across as a fancy noble.
Oh.
So, with the prospect of a dinner party coming, is she excited? Or is this like part of the noble life that she doesn't like?
So, yeah. Specifically for this one, she is not excited for it. She is really not looking forward to it. So in terms of them not being fancy nobles, it's kind of that thing of like, if you have $1,000, you could totally spend it on like some nice clothes or like whatever you want, or you could reinvest it into whatever you need down the road and like expanding your influence. And her dad was a lot more about that. Like, he wasn't some dumb frivolous noble or whatever. And so that was very much imprinted on her of just like, yeah, that's not important to do a lot of that stuff. Like, it's cool, it's awesome, and it's nice to have things, but it's not the number one priority. But she does have a lot of like girliness inside her that is way stamped down, that like won't see the light of day unless it is specifically dragged out of her. And this would have been maybe a good opportunity for that to happen, but because of the people that are going to be there, she is going to hate it no matter what. Like, really gonna hate it no matter what, because of that lady Idina that is going to be there. She is going to hate it.
What is that deal?
Uh,
I don't remember who she is.
So she I don't think she's been explained in game really. She is Jelania's Regina George. She is the queen bee of the high school that was just really mean to Anya. Just like, oh, I'm gorgeous and everyone thinks I'm great, and I've decided that I hate you because you're an ugly tiefling girl. I'm going to make your life terrible. So that's kind of the history there, and Anya's not excited to be around her again at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the reference?
Mean Girls.
Regina
Yeah, I was
George.
like,
Yeah, Mean Girls.
I've never seen Mean Girls, so I was like,
I mean, I know Regina George is awful and everyone hates her because of what
The
you
thing is, like,
described,
people
but,
don't
like,
hate her. There's definitely a part in Mean Girls where it cuts through this montage of like the uncool girls in the high school being like, I saw Regina wearing like combat boots and cargo shorts, and I totally the next day went, like, they all love her because she's beautiful and she knows how to turn on that charm just for a second and be like, wow, honey, I just really love your shoes. They're really great. And she knows how to like get people on her side like really well, but she'll just pick a couple of people to just make their lives miserable. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay, because like I only know the memes, so there's the gatherings like who here has been personally wronged by Regina George, and like
Yeah. No, there's a reason why she is popular, but there's also a reason why she's awful.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Trying, especially because Idina is gorgeous, super beautiful, and is very much into that girly stuff. Trying to go into a room where she is and knowing that there is going to be a comparison made is not something that Anya is looking forward to at all.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Though continuing that then on my personally unknown Mean Girls, what does that say about the end of this story?
That Anya is going to become as popular and gorgeous as Idina, for sure. Totally going to happen.
We'll see.
Doubt it. Super doubt it.
All right, Adam.
That's me.
Has
Usually.
Artyom had any thoughts about his family up until this point? We know that something was introduced at the end of the session, but just putting that aside for now.
Like what kind of thoughts? Because so it has been established that his mother was killed by nobles, that he grew up as an orphan on the streets up until he was brought in by the priest where he lived, and then raised from being a teenager to the young adult that he is, as a as a clergyman is the word I'm looking for. And then it also has just been revealed that the Sadovich of the Empire is also his brother. So there's a couple different aspects of family that he could think about on a regular basis.
Yeah, I guess I don't know who asked the question or what they were intending with it, but I'm thinking about you. I don't know how much you knew about your family, though obviously you knew that guy was your brother.
Mhm.
So like, how often have the I guess nobles that are in your family, which are they not? How often has Artyom thought about them specifically?
So nobles is kind of an understatement. That dude is like the prince, so it's pretty much straight up royalty that he's connected to. His brother, probably not a whole bunch. He knows he exists, and that's about it. But the way he's connected to his brother and all of the consequences that came from that is something that he's thought about on a regular basis.
I love how you're trying to avoid saying anything like real right now. It's killing me. I want to know all the things.
Yeah. Well, but we don't want to spoil things that should come out in game. So
Yeah, sure, fine. I just spoiled everything about Edina, and that's super, super important, so...
You told us she was Regina George.
Yeah, and that's super important to the story, I'm sure. So you should reciprocate.
The Arkady Alkaev is Artyom's brother, and he's a prince. Very important to the story.
Okay.
how about this one? Do you hate your father? In some degree, in any degree. Let's not say like full hate, but just to any degree. Do you hate your father?
He definitely blames him for what happened. He probably waffles back and forth between indifference, ambivalence, and general frustration and saltiness. But I don't know that I could really describe his father's not who he hates in his complicated family history.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. Okay. Now this question is for everyone. Drift's family seems nice.
No, they
Do you
don't.
believe it?
Oh, Drift's family now?
Just
his
dad's
new
side.
family, or his old family now discovered. So, do you believe it? Are they secretly evil?
I mean, everybody's secretly evil in this game.
Apparently.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah.
Trust nobody.
Trust no one. That Ia girl is gonna end up... Oh my gosh, it's Ia that we met outside of the cave in the very first cave. That's it. That's who it is. Patrick, we found you out. No, in all seriousness, I think they're probably good, and that's like the one thing that Patrick is gonna do in this entire campaign that's like actually kind of nice, is that they're gonna be good. But then at the same time, that causes problems, but I might talk about that later. Oh, go ahead.
Drith has had enough familial drama crap and his backstory. Feel like, at least for the most part, Patrick's gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Maybe kill somebody, but not make them evil like someone's sister.
I personally had a game I was running in which the backstory for a girl was that her that she had like gotten cursed, if you will, with ice magic powers and killed people in her village and ran away. And when she came back, turns out her father died because of her.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was Lydia's story.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, first thing that we did in the campaign was went back to my house, and he's like, by the way, you made yourself into an orphan. That's your fault. Thanks. So we'll see when Drith turns to kill his family. Watch that happen.
When Drith turns to the dark side, that'll be a scary day indeed.
Oh no.
This is the way. All right. Let's kick it back to Adam. So this is going to get a little deeper.
All right.
Why did Artyom decide to tell Jelania his secret rather than someone like Corvette or, others in the party who maybe seem less judgmental sometimes?
Thank you.
Because I knew full well that Lydia was gonna be the one with the best reaction. No,
You knew that I was the most likely to actually have a heart attack. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's the one that he has the strongest relationship with, even if it's really complicated. And the one that he kind of felt like would, actually say more than just kind of like, oh, interesting. I mean, maybe that's kind of like, as I think about it now, Corvette probably would have been like, what? Your brother's the prince? Why didn't you tell any of us this sooner? But, Cadillac probably would have been like, neat. And, I kind of think Drith would have been like, wait, so does that mean you can't be my brother anymore?
Oh,
and then,
that's totally something you would do, too.
And Piotr would have pushed him out a window. But, yeah, no, it's definitely because of that's who he feels he has the strongest connection with.
What would Corvette have done? Like, I assume he will probably do some sort of version of it, because we'll hopefully eventually all know.
Hopefully. There's many things that would go through Corvette's head at once. Especially some of the like, oh, what does this mean for the Empire? Oh, dang. Okay, then. And then, yeah, just kind of all that. Plus, like, Corvette knows the prince, Arcady. And so it's like, okay, you two are related. How do I feel about that?
Yeah.
So, definitely a lot of shock, though. Just like, kind of like the whole, like, I've been in, as Adam said before, the presence of royalty this whole time. How do I feel about that? So there's a lot of mixed emotions you would have had. Just like,
I think those are perfect answers to not reveal too much before it does come out in game.
Yeah. How dare all of you not bow to me?
Exactly, right? It's like,
Lydia, any rebuttal?
To what? To the fact that, like, someone in the audience thinks that I'm so mean?
Okay, you can address that too.
Oh, like what do you
I was
mean?
thinking with Adam saying that you have the closest relationship and that you probably have the biggest reaction.
Well, I know I'm often the most expressive player in the game just because I can't sit still. So I can understand that. Um, as to the two of them having a pretty close relationship, I would say that that's true at this point. Um, like metagamey sort of thing, like thinking about the conversations that Artyom has had with other party members, a lot of them have been the other person being like, hey, Mr. Priest Man, I have a problem. Please help me. And that is not as, like, to me, in my experiences, like that is, if it's not a reciprocal vulnerability, you don't become as close. You know, like, so especially when Artyom was like, oh, can you help me be proud of who I am? That moment of like, I have a problem, I have an issue, and I'm willing to be like honest about that. That is a moment that created a stronger relationship there for sure. So to me, it makes sense, I guess. Um, yeah, we'll see how Anya's reaction in game happens, whether or not it's nice and like comforting or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess speaking of, there was kind of a follow-on question there. Is Jelania going to give RTM a chance to like explain himself and hiding that and whatever else?
Oh yeah, like you
Or is
can't just
he
drop the bomb that you're like related to the emperor and just be like, oh, okay, that's great. I don't care. Like, there's no way. No way, especially
well, I
when we're like
mean,
literally
yeah.
like kind of in the same room as this person. Um, yeah.
Well, I guess I think more the intention there was like, will there be immediate anger?
Probably. Have you watched the show?
Honestly, this is something that I've gone back and forth about like how she feels about this moment or whatever. And like, to be perfectly honest, I think that there's going to be like, in the moment of the game starting, that Jelania is going to tell me and I will just react to that and just do what she is feeling. Because yeah, anger is very likely to be part of it. You know, it's like, you didn't tell me that for so long. Screw you.
Never brought up. You didn't ask.
I guess not. I,
It is a very specific question
we
to
should
ask.
all start with the habit of, hey, are you related to royalty? Who's your dad?
Seriously though, how many of us are,
Yeah.
or at least
I mean,
nobles?
no, I'm the only one that I know of.
Yeah.
But that's a very important distinction, is that I am related to royalty. I am not the prince.
Very, very true.
For now.
It goes back to that classic critical role question. What is my mother's name?
What's my mother's middle name?
Brayden. So you kind of touched on this for a second with your kind of noble indoor background, knowing the prince and all that. And right now, Corvette is back in his element, the nobility and fanciness. What are your thoughts, or what are Corvette's thoughts about being back in the royal court setting after being gone for so long?
Great question. Well, Braden thinks it's going to be a lot of fun because it's Corvette's just like, that's what he was grown up to do and to be, and it's just what he's learned. So, but Corvette, he feels more comfortable. He feels like this is somewhere that he can actually, have influence more. Can actually, maybe do some things to help kind of find answers to the Profane Guard and like kind of hoping to organize things also is wary of, at the same time, who to trust after so many things happening. Um, Still seeking, hoping to find some people that he knows that are like that he can just trust and really kind of get on their side. But he's definitely excited. He comes out of his shell a lot more. Is just very kind of just like, oh yeah, I got this kind of attitude in those situations, more than even just has been. So that should be hopefully more apparent in kind of the court, the bigger cities, the just that type of atmosphere.
Are other people gonna get
So
nicknames too? Not just
Hmm.
Arky.
Maybe we'll see. There's reasons.
so Corvette is afraid of the peasants, is what I'm getting.
Hey man,
If
they
that's
cut
what
people's
came
heads off.
across, that's not at all what he is.
I mean, you
No,
did
it-
say that you would be totally scared that the butcher would kill you in the alleyway.
Well, yeah, of course. Wouldn't anyone? But that's fair. But no, he's not scared of just the common folk, or
Ouch.
whatever. Yeah, he's like, this is what I know him as. There's nobles and then just not nobles. So,
That is the problem.
awesome. Love it. Love it. Lots of intrigue here. But that's not what I meant to come across, because he's not scared of them in that sort of sense.
No, yeah.
So, but yeah, he's scared of some people. He's like, yeah. Don't
Yeah,
want to mess with you.
I was definitely pulling your leg there.
Oh, I figured, but I was like, who knows what I'm saying tonight? I don't know.
Me neither. None of us probably.
None of us.
It's
Never.
late. Cool. For everyone. What do you think about these 4 men who were introduced as the chosen of Silhana? Do you think that's a formality? Or do you think that, well, first, do you think that is a formality? Second, do you think that they were actually chosen by the dragon goddess? And third, do you think that the people around them believe they were chosen?
People around them, yes. Actually chosen, no, because we already kind of have confirmation that's us from one of the saints.
Did he say it was Silhana that decided
I
that?
mean,
Or
he
is it
said
just
that
by nature the fact that he's a saint?
we were picked? We were all very specifically picked.
By who though? Did he ever say? Because like maybe it was some other entity.
Well,
Maybe it
his
was
direct-
Morpheus, y'all.
His direct
Eladin.
report is Silhana and not Morpheus, so
My talking spear picked us all.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so.
No,
funny.
I think the people around him believe it, but I don't believe it. Neither has Adam nor has Artyom.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since also Corvette and Artyom know that we're all magically connected through the divine powers of the cosmos, even though nobody else does.
Thanks for sharing.
It's never been a good time to share with anybody except for the other person who's frequently in contact with divine beings, or at least used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, how would Jelania react to that? Like, based on her history with the gods?
I honestly don't know. Like, really, I don't know. It would probably depend on how it was told to her, in what context, in what situation, because it could range from like, okay, this is absolute BS, I'm out of here, or okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
It's a very small range.
Yeah.
Doesn't extend positive reaction.
Nope. Not very much in Jelani's life extends to positive reactions. We've established this. But she's totally cool with everybody being like, yeah, these are chosen of Silhana. You know, it kind of takes, especially like in this moment, she doesn't want any attention on her or the group at all. She's like totally not wanting that. So them being like, oh, look at these fancy magic people that the goddess chose. She's like, yes, please, like go for them. Be all over these weird dudes. I would prefer that. Leave me alone.
Yeah, no, about them, like, because Adam, you say people around them believe that. I mean, I think that probably a lot of people around them believe that. But who are these four, really? And should we, how to say that? The people who have set them up and said that these are the chosen of Silhana, would you agree they probably have something to gain by people believing that this group is chosen of Silhana?
I mean, so to my understanding, they were very specifically put together by the group was put together by the matriarch, archmatriarch of the church, the person who's very, top, tippity top in charge, kind of like the Pope being like, these are the new representatives of the Catholic Church for some reason. So everybody's probably like, but yeah, okay, cool. Pope says it is, therefore it is. So I think I don't know necessarily that they have. I mean, there might be some ulterior motive for some of the people in the party, but I think the big motivation behind it is you have. To be honest, all I remember is that Arcadi is a winged hussar, and then there's a gnome
Yeah.
barbarian.
No
Oh,
barbarian.
I guess there's another tiefling.
Isaac.
Yeah, there's
Tiefling
remember
third
nondescript
on an
person.
elf mage.
Elf
I pulled
mage.
out my notes right here, so
Oh, good.
But,
here we go.
these four people, even if they're not actually chosen, they're supposed to offer like a semblance of hope to these embattled lands. So at the very least, the gain from it is, maintaining hold on the northern areas by, making the people at least think that something's being done about their issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that sounds to me like a potential connection between the king and the church. And
Which
you
there
know,
definitely is. There's
and
a lot of
perhaps some
connections there.
leaning in on each other there, right? The king says, hey, we need some chosen. I guess
My son's pretty cool.
I did shall we say mind blank a little bit. Was your brother one of those four?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, the emperor is saying, by the way, my son better be in that group, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, go out and lead a campaign and prove that you're worth being the king kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but also accept it, everyone else, because
Yeah.
I'm not the one who chose. It's not even his birthright. This is the gods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are definitely, I don't know, my personal opinion is that there are some people higher up who definitely know that they're not chosen.
I would just love it that they were actually the chosen of Silhana and we're the chosen of somebody else. Like the Dark Priestess is so into us. Like she is really into us. So like I would love that, me personally.
Yeah,
we were called by the Dark Priestess.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, she wanted us.
kind of we are the chosen of her.
For sure. She's secretly a good guy. The Profane Guard has abandoned the Dark Priestess. She's definitely a good guy.
Wow.
And clearly Silhana is
garbage.
This is a Patrick campaign, so
everything good is terrible.
Seriously, how, like, in Artyom's mind, is there any doubt about you guys being the chosen? of Silhana.
Nope, because Wyland came down and said so, and he may not always be the most forthcoming on information, but that's because he can't. The more information he gives us, the more information that the bad guys get to give out, and the bad guys seem to be one step ahead of us. So the less steps that he gives them, the better.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Let's move on from there. A couple individual questions for Lydia. Jelania just saw a real tiefling for the first time outside of your family. And this tiefling's a cleric of the church. So, initial thoughts from Jelania?
First off, I'm pretty sure we ran into tieflings. I don't think we talked to them, but they were like farmers in Pelegrod. So she's seen other tieflings. As for him being a cleric, I don't know how much she cares. It's like the entire thing that like the church teaches to tieflings is like, you are a fallen person. You have like dangerous things inside you that can make you really dangerous and problematic for other people. You need to resist that as much as you can. And so it totally makes sense for a tiefling to be like, yes, mama dragon goddess, I will be your cleric and fix everything. So like it totally makes sense. She thinks it's stupid. Doesn't think that tieflings need that at all. So she views him as just another dumb cleric. Most people that really, really devote themselves to Silhana are like a little bit dumb in her mind.
I mean, again, have you ever questioned if Silhana is really that good?
I mean, yes.
Well, there's a difference between Silhana and then the church, right? Like, people who get really into the church, it's like, okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, once again, there was a total mind melt on my part at the end of last session. Was this tiefling one of the four?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So, again, it could be one of those, like, I don't know. I like this idea. These four were all chosen specifically to represent certain things for the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no, I have some specific thoughts and plans in regards to this tiefling at the dinner. I have some thoughts. I have some schemes.
Wooing.
I also wonder, like, I guess it can't be in direct correlation because there's only 4 of them, whereas there are 6 in the party. But, like, there's a tiefling. You're a tiefling. There's Artyom's brother, who is Artyom's brother. Like, are these supposed to be, like, twisted reflections of each of you, where the tiefling is crazy into the church? The brother is the epitome of nobility, being royalty, right? I don't know enough to go on from there.
I don't remember if it was on Rehash last. No, because we didn't. It's only been since last week. I feel like it was. I don't remember if it was on a stream later. Maybe it was on Monday when Patrick and I were painting. But he was telling us. And this is why I'm afraid to say this, because maybe it was in our post-game discussion that we have every time, and it shouldn't be shared. Patrick, if I'm about to say something terrible, please stop me. But he said he had like 4 people that he asked to make a character, and they made these 4 characters. So at least some of the decision-making in their creation was out of Patrick's hands. So
yeah, he did mention that in post-game to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was more. By the way, here's this interesting tidbit for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was specifically referring to the gnome barbarian was made up by my little brother.
Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah.
just
And
a
we
little gnome
should
who's
see
jacked.
some. Oh, sorry. What?
It's just a little gnome who's just just huge, just so buff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's named
But maybe when
Fezzik,
we
which
get-
is even better.
But if we get a bit
Fezzik?
more insight into his personality and character, maybe he is the anti-Cadillac.
Oh boy. No, what needs to happen is there needs to be like some one shot or something of like these 4 dudes going off and doing something and being played by the 4 people who made them. And then we'll have some like big like showdown where they'll come on to Ready to Roll and we'll all like try and kill each other or something. That's what I would love.
That sounds good.
Boy,
So
you're like
Patrick
10 people.
Yeah, that would be a lot of people. Patrick in chat saying the only one not made by an outside person was Arkady. Which makes sense.
Gotcha.
Made by Adam.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not me. Arkady's probably based off of Patrick.
Oh no. Oh no.
So he's also
That's-
an evil dungeon master.
That explains so much.
Yeah, like haven't you ever? I know Braden probably has. Like, have you ever seen Sword Art Online? There's a comment at the end towards the end, where he's like, "And statute of limitations on spoilers is gone. It's been 9 years since it came out. So if you're ever gonna watch it, it's too bad." He's like, it's always boring for a. And I'm not getting it verbatim. It's always boring for a storyteller to just sit and watch their creation. They have to get involved. And then one of the bad guys turns out to be, the game developer. So Pato is totally Arkady, and therefore he's evil. I mean, probably actually not, but Patrick's a little more innovative and creative than that when it comes to his bad guys.
Yeah.
Not just it's myself. I'm the dungeon master.
Well,
His name is Patrick Louise Taylor. He's saying
Louise
it.
is not his middle name.
Yes,
Darn.
Patrick, that is the insinuation.
Well,
You
it's-
are evil. Evil.
You are all the bad guys.
That's true. You are
Yeah.
all the evil in the campaign.
Yeah.
Except for us.
Except for
yeah,
sometimes
well,
when
I
we're
also
evil.
hear that I hear that D&D fratricide kind of runs in the family, so
Oh god.
D&D fratricide.
Oh no. Yeah.
Hey, Braden. This is a bit of a bit back to levity here. How grumpy is Corvette that he has to stay in the barracks?
Pretty grumpy. Well, pretty grumpy because Arky is here and he wants to talk to him. So, and he's just like, and also he's like, come on. There's space. You're in a castle. I mean, you're in a huge city, pretty big, I think. I don't know how big the city is. I want to ask Patrick that.
Pretty decent.
Compared to, it's a big enough city. So I'm like, come on.
At
So-
least like put us up in an inn instead of the barracks.
Yeah, something. It's like, give me like a nice inn or something. I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
So, a little grumpy because sick of traveling to, what was it, 2 weeks we were on the road?
A
pretty much?
month. It was
Oh, a month.
yeah, it was 2
Yeah,
weeks to
no, okay.
the mountain and then 2 weeks
The
to
mountain.
Norgard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he's grumpy. It's been a month since in a good bed. So,
Assuming that you're going to be there for more than one night,
he's talking to Arky about it. He's like, hey, hook me up with some good rooms.
Oh my gosh. If we like get to this dinner and you and Arky are just like palling it up and he seems like a total bro, I'm gonna die. Oh my gosh. Just like 2 bros in their boat shoes on a little sailboat, like oh
Yes.
no.
It's gonna be fun. I am very excited for this dinner event, and hopefully the prince makes it a show. It'll be very entertaining, very fun. So
Yeah, yeah. Uh, well, question for Adam and Braden now about Jelania.
Yay.
okay.
Jelania voiced some, shall we say, objections to Kadiak's lifestyle. And to a degree, she told Kadiak not to help while they're in the Boyar's house. So I'm looking for player reactions to that, but also would Corvit or Artyom have agreed with any of that, or would they have openly objected to any of what she said?
Go
You
ahead.
know, I would have completely agreed with what she had said. You know, she's spot on, right? Like, you know, why figure your own crap out? Why is your life being built off of, you know, destroying the lives of others? To be honest, the comment on that Kadiak made, I only fight people that fight back. I'm like, I'm gonna fight back, dingling. You come take my crap, and I'm gonna fight back. So good luck. You know, I'm not just gonna, you know, bend over and just say, okay, go ahead, take whatever you want.
Literally a
You know,
couple of sessions ago, we were fighting back.
Yeah, we were. So it's
Yeah.
and then me as a player is kind of like, yeah, man, same thing. You know, that's a same thing that I would think in real life is I'm not just gonna, you know, bend over and just let people take what they want. So both Adam and Artyom agree with Jelania.
Yeah. It's like you know, he at one point he says, "Well, I consider myself one of you guys now, so I'm not going to raid your cities." And it's just like,
But they're all
what
our
does that
cities.
improve?
Yeah.
That's so that's interesting. Nick, that quote was like, so like Braden, I thought it was awesome. I loved the interaction because it was like, wow, Jelania's getting on someone completely new's case. This
Yeah,
is
it's not me.
like I was like, oh, this is cool. This is different and interesting. Cool. So anyway, so Braden thought it was very entertaining. Um, and that comment though that Kadiak made about I'm like part of you, I'm gonna change. It's like part of you, like you guys or whatever. I was like, it's like we've been on this adventure for what 2 months, maybe 3 max in game time. It's like you've lived what close to 80 years being North Saiyan. Like how can you say after 3 months you're part Mortiviran or something like that? It's like that doesn't add up in my head. So, but if Corbett heard that stuff initially, he would have been like, oh, like the things that Jelania said, like he would definitely lean towards her. But like being, because he's from the Southern Isles, he's from as far away from North Say as you could get. Like they don't like ever go that far south, and so he hasn't ever really thought about the livelihood and that experience of having to really worry about raiders. But having heard that conversation, he definitely would have thought about it and been like, yeah, that's like, stop, don't do that. Like, why do you have to raid other people's stuff? Because like then he's like, yeah, I would have fought back. So but like he definitely would it would have taken him a moment because he never really like considered that as a lifestyle before. Just because he's so remote from the people in Cordovan and kind of people up there who experience raiding all the time.
And like Anya had been kind of like that too. Like it has been said, the Raiders didn't come to Cordovan. Like it's not a target that they would go for. But so it was kind of like us and pirates now, just like, oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow, who's so cool. But then if you actually like sat down and learned what pirates did, like they would go shoot up people's houses and be like, oh, you can't stop me. I'm going to like kill your husband. I'm going to abuse your wife. I'm going to do these things just because I can and you can't stop me. And that would totally, totally change your opinion on pirates. And then if you met one, you'd be like, oh, dang. So like that happened all in like a day for Anya. And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want this guy to be around me anymore. This is a problem. So I don't know how or if she's gonna get over this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't personally think that, Kadiak would be able to justify his past actions to any, at least we know for a fact Anya, and I know for a fact Artyom, and I'm pretty certain. I feel like the only one who might be like, it's okay, Kadiak, you're a nice guy, so I'll forgive you, is Drith.
Probably.
Pyotr's, and obviously I can't speak for the other characters, but like Pyotr spent his career dealing
Fighting,
with
yeah.
Norse raiders, and
Pirates.
Artyom would very, very much condemn that behavior. So it's like, oh, tell me exactly what you did. Really? Well, guess what, buddy? You're gonna spend the rest of eternity with Morpheus.
Well, hang on there. Don't you remember that you are all linked together through the cosmos? Chosen.
I don't know. It depends on how much he gives himself over to these Fae people. Like, once his whole body, except for his last remaining eye, is all purple and glowy.
Yeah.
Here,
And
take
he'll
my
become a
arm.
force
Here, take
unstoppable.
me. Yeah.
Oh man, I have a lot of comments that I'm thinking right now that
Say some of them. You're the host, dude.
I mean, these should be kind of neutral, acceptable statements, but in our current climate, they are politically charged, apparently. But just like how, like, race is a weird thing in D&D, but what extreme racism there, right? Like, I'm Norsean, they're not. We will raid them because we can again, right? And then he says, oh, but I'm one of you now, and I'm Norsean, so I'm not going to raid you guys anymore. And it's just like the inability to realize that, okay, you met these people and now you understand that they are people just like you and your people, and not being able to extend that and say everyone who's a person is a person, right? It's and I mean, obviously in our real world here, people don't think about it that way, but it is to an extent why racism exists, right? Because as much as you intellectually accept them as people, some people don't feel it. Like, intellectually, they know that that person of the other race is a person, but the feeling, you don't feel the same about them, right? They are in other.
And in terms of Kadiak, as we've learned, Norseans aren't all dwarves, and all dwarves aren't Norsean. Like, there's a whole bunch of different races. It's like
Culture.
Yeah, tribalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tribalism is a better word.
Yeah.
There
is totally racism in D&D, and I absolutely adore that. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that it's an evil that you overcome in D&D. But yeah. I do wonder, because Kadiak is not dressed as a Norsean right now. He's dressed as Mordvirian. He's dressed like,
He's dressed fancy.
He's dressed in the
Corbett.
entourage. Yes.
Out.
So like
Fancy.
nobody is gonna know that he's Norsean unless he tells people. So technically, like, Anya could have let it go and be like, yeah, as long as you don't tell people you're Norsean, whatever, it's fine. But I'm really nervous that Kadiak's gonna like try and stab Anya in her sleep or something, because like when she's walking away and he's like, I'm glad I know where you stand, I was just like, oh no. Oh no. That made me really nervous, really scared.
Yeah, maybe you just shifted yourself from an us to an other.
Oh no. Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a whole thing.
All right. I feel like this was fun and good conversation. There are some other backup questions that I had if we want to extend this at all, but we're pretty close to an hour. I guess I'm the host and I am supposed to make those decisions.
Yeah, your job.
Yeah. Here, hang on. Let's yeah. To close us off. Hey everyone. Drith got a magic item. Are you jealous?
No.
Mm-mm. No.
Nobody gives
We're
me
talking-
magic items.
I think we were talking after the session, and I was just saying like that was just so cool, and like when it started, when Patrick, Astrid's dad, started listing what it could do, it was like, oh dang, that's cool. Just like, I'm so excited for Drift to play with that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oh.
I don't keep track of damage dealt or anything by people in the party, so there's not any like, oh no, Drift's gonna do better than me in a fight now. Like, there's not any of that.
I don't know. I just want one because I want one.
Oh yeah, I would love,
All right.
personally, I would
Yeah.
love a talking weapon. Like, I freaking love sentient weapons in D&D. It's one of my favorite things. So, Patrick.
We already have one talking weapon. You missed the boat on that
Almost
one.
everyone in the party has some random thing that they talk to when they're sleeping. I need to join in on this.
I'm actually awake when I talk to my.
Sometimes you're asleep.
Maybe.
Little Miss Fodder in the chat. Someone needs magic armor to prevent being stabbed in their sleep. By dwarf barbarian.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I just got new armor. I don't need other armor.
Magic helmet to keep from getting your skull crushed.
Oh, I thought it was dead.
I had to make sure he could get back up.
Dang it.
Nice. All right, I think we'll go ahead and end there.
All right.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for the questions that were submitted. There will be a new form link sent out after our next session of Ready to Roll, so look out for that. Remember that you can always ask questions for anyone, even if they aren't going to be present on the night. We'll save those for later. And have a good night, everyone. Keep safe, keep sane, and if you do get down, come back here and we'll lift you up. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.